Hey, welcome back to Freedom Algo, everyone. Let me see. What's this in the chat? Good to have you here. Hey, listen, whoever that was commenting about something about raising capital and whatnot, if you're here to start asking for stuff like that, I'm just gonna ban you. So I'm just letting you know, like, don't come here and start asking people for money and stuff. Like, that's not cool. That's not what this is. Jarvis, good to see you, fam. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Sorry that I'm a couple minutes late. I got a couple of weird things going on here that I got to deal with, so just give me a second. Just dealing with some stuff, so give me 1 second here. Just some of the classic tech stuff. I was having a problem with... having a tech issue, actually, with Loom, which is what I use for our videos, and so a bunch of the course wasn't loading randomly because the video hosting was messed up. So I'm trying to figure out what in the world is going on with that. All right, well, doesn't seem to be. Seems to be some kind of issue with their platform right now. So hopefully it will resolve later. See if I can. Weird. Well, I'll just minimize it for now, I guess, and I'll deal with it later. Because I got no idea what's going on with that. All right, anyway, hope everybody's having a good day, and hope that you're having a great week. Hope everybody had a great weekend, as always. Let me know, did you do anything fun this weekend? Let me know in the chat. All right, so today was definitely a little bit of a slower trading day so far. I'm gonna pull up the screen again just a second here. I'm just trying to get one last thing dealt with over here. See if this works. Huh. So weird. Anyway, I'll just minimize that and deal with it later. Classic tech issues. All right. Pull this up, minimize this. DJ, good to see you. Yeah, huge gap, KP. Huge gap. I mean, if you just zoom out, this thing is crazy. I honestly was not seeing anything on why this happened. So if anybody knows, go ahead and tell me in the chat. Oh, dang. Sorry to hear that, Jarvis. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Oh, China. Yeah. Yeah, not surprised. Not surprised. So I'll get into the price action day. This is what it looks like. So obviously there's a huge gap. We closed the week all the way down here last week. And we were at a new all-time high. And then we opened at a new all-time high. So there you go. Absolutely ridiculous. So I drew the lows off of here, off this candle. And I drew the highs up here, but I eventually moved it up a little higher. And then this blue line is just kind of where we bounced a couple of times. So that's all that is. And so basically we had just some tight channels. And when I came in this morning, we kind of had this little grind right here. So we had this little up channel that doesn't have a new high. We had made a double top off the top of the range. Bounce down here. And then we do have a first entry, second entry long, and then a higher low after a second entry long. I don't love this because we don't have... Oh, man, is there still an issue? Hold on. Hold on. I'm getting an issue here. Hang on, everybody. Can you all hear me? I'm having some really strange tech stuff today, so I'm just trying to make sure. There was a big power outages in my area, major storms, and I think like the internet is kind of funky, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I'm getting a bunch of error messages from YouTube Studio right now, so telling me that there's problems. And all right, just give me a second here. I just need to make sure that it's all good. Yeah, I don't mean volume. I mean, like, am I, like, chopping out or anything? Because, okay, it's saying that it's okay now. Okay, yeah, I don't know what that was, but I started getting some... It's telling me that I have errors and that it's not working, but from what I can tell, it seems fine. So, all right, whatever. We're just going to ignore it and hope for the best. Yeah, anyway, let me take this image off. Sorry, I had to just... It was telling me that nothing was working. Give me one... I'm going to look one more time, just make sure everything's good, and then we should be fine. All right. Yeah, and I think that you're right, DJ. The price action has been a little bit funky this October. I mean, hey, we're hitting all-time highs, though. We're just not as volatile as we were, that's all, which is fine. John, yeah, optimism, China, and then the Fed rate cut, and then tech earnings. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that is bullish for the market there. Fraser. Listen, I'm going to tell you straight up. I know that you're just joking, but don't ever think that the market is trying to screw you over, because it's not. The market is unbiased. It does its thing, and when we lose a trade, we're losing to another trader. We're not losing to the market. So just be aware of that. Like, it's a zero-sum game. Trading is a zero-sum game. There's a winner and a loser. It's not like a market out to get anybody or anything like that. Yeah, gap is pretty crazy. Yeah, volume's good. Okay, volume. All right, yeah, everything seems fine. All right, cool. I'm just checking here. All right, cool. Yeah, there was basically, I was getting a message that my frames were dropping and all this weird stuff. All these weird messages saying that I wasn't sending video. And so anyway, I had to just double check it, but we're all good. All right, so we had this higher low after a second entry long. Now, the second entry long had already kind of played out there, but it hadn't moved that far. And it's kind of like a failed second entry short as well from this low. It's not really where you're looking for one, but, you know, there is that aspect. It's kind of a higher low after a second entry long. Somewhat bullish bar. I don't think it's ideal, but I marked it because it was looking bullish overall. And at the time, it was looking like there was some sort of an up channel in play. So it was okay. I didn't take this yellow arrow, but it's there, so I just marked it. I did take this one. So at this point, we made this high. We have a pullback. First entry long, close outside, comes down, makes a new low, gives us a second entry long. This looks like basically two measured legs. I don't know that it actually is. I'm not going to even bother with my magnet tool, but not quite, but it's pretty close to a two-legged correction. But the reason I like it is because, not just because it's a second entry long, because this is a range, so second entry long isn't exactly ideal, but it's a second entry long with an equal low, very bullish bar, and it's a triple test of this level. So you can see we bounced here once, twice, 3 times. It looks pretty bullish to me. It's now closing back above the midline. I liked it, so I took that trade. Unfortunately, it filled my scalp, came back and stopped my runner at break even, and then just kept going, and I didn't get a runner on it, but that's okay. It just happens. All right. And then we turn into this kind of channel working higher. So basically here, we come up. There's a second entry short here and a trap, but I don't think you want to take that. because we're in a range. It's going higher. Now, we do break out the top of the range, but you can't take a short here because if you just zoom out and look, this up channel hasn't played out yet. So if you take a short up here, you're shorting in an up channel. The EMA has moved from being sideways to being angled up. All the price action is above the 21 EMA. We're in an uptrend here. You can't take a short. And even if you drew a tighter channel here, which is totally fine if you did, even if you drew a tighter channel, like from this low, which I do think that you could draw one, you could draw something like this. It still hasn't played out. So I think you have to be aware of that, and you can't short it until it plays out. So it fails. The breakout does fail. Most breakouts fail, but it's risky to still take it until you have some confirmation. So then, okay, let me backtrack real quick to John's question here. So 636. Oh, no. Okay, so yeah, this is one of those classic examples of you have a double bottom equal low. So you can use this bar as your signal bar. So new high, pullback, first entry, pullback. Technically, it's a second entry above this bearish bar, but because it's an equal low, you can use this bar as the low of your swing, as your low. So you can use this big green bar as your signal bar. So you actually enter one tick above this green bar. That's how I entered it. It's a big bar, 13 ticks. So you end up with a 15 tick stop loss on it, but it is an easy trade. Took barely any heat on that. So let me know if that answers your question. All right, and I'll come back to it if not. All right, so then we do come up and we get, this basically fails up here. You could put a level here if you want. There's like a triple test there, but I don't think you want to short yet. It's kind of tempting there to take this big bar short back inside the range, but I just think it's dicey because at the time your range high was here. So it actually, here, let me just show you. At the time, your range high was here. So you're basically shorting right on the range. You don't want to do that. That's dangerous. So I don't really like anything in there. You just got to watch it go. It forms a downtrend, close outside, 2 legs to a new low. There is a downtrend here that's kind of separate from that as a possibility. Yeah, John. Yep. We talked about that, I think, in the call last week, actually. All right, so then I looked at this as a possible downtrend. Now, I took this short, and this is my last trade of the day. I only took 2 trades. And you have a first entry short, second entry short. It came within 1 tick of my stop loss, but this bar was small. It was only 5 ticks. So I only had a 7 tick stop loss on that anyway. But the reason I didn't love this one is because after the fact, like I did mark it yellow. It is inside this channel, but the problem is if you look at where it is, it's in the middle of this basically range, which is dangerous. The other thing is it hasn't quite made it back to the EMA or anything, but the other thing about it is this is a down channel with a close outside and new low, but it really makes a couple legs to a new low. So this all may have played out. And this wider channel might not really be in play. So there's always that possibility there. You're better off to wait for it to come to the lows and look for a long, or come to the highs and look for a short on a range day. So, and I had to mark that yellow, but it was a low risk bar, so I didn't mind. Anyway, so it ends up working. I don't get a runner, and then it reverses and turns into an uptrend. And pretty much it stops at this level and then reverses again. Now we're breaking out the top again. So now I'm going to start to say that the range highs are probably this blue line. So let's just delete that. So I think that the range highs actually are right here. Because you can see the closes. That's actually fitting really nice. The midline is fitting pretty good. Right here, that touch. So that's how I'm looking at it now. I'd move my range high up here. I'm going to keep this blue line on. We can see if there's a pot. There might be actually somewhat wider little channel here. Probably something like this. Close outside, new high. So the uptrend has all played out there. What's this high? 68.92.50. We missed the new high by 1 tick. So that's hilarious. So we're probably going to still touch it. We're probably still going to come up here and touch that level. But it might take a little bit. It might not happen right away. Sometimes you fail by a tick or two. Got to draw the short-term downtrend here. I'd be reluctant to take anything right now. Unless I get some kind of a new high first and then it fails and gives me like a lower high back into the range. But overall, there's a bullish bias in play. You can see these swing lows kind of getting higher. You know, if you just look at the price action in general, if you just zoom out, it's a bullish bias in this range. So you have to be aware of that. Taking shorts is pretty risky. The better plays are longs off of key areas right now. Exactly 8 a.m. On my chart, I see a new high right here, a pullback, a first entry pullback, second entry long, and then an equal low that you can treat like a higher low right here. I mean, I guess you could look at this like a triple test. But the problem with it is like where it is, right? You don't really have a new low made on this downtrend or whatnot. It's kind of like you're taking a long in the middle of no man's land again. I don't think it's a good setup. I don't think so. I think at this point you needed to wait for it to come down to an actual like low area. It's just you're kind of taking a long in no man's land, in my opinion. So I don't like it. It's also congested. So yeah, so it's not really that to me. I don't like it. Yeah, I knew what you meant when you typed that. That's what. Yeah, I knew what you meant. I don't like it personally. I don't think it's a good setup. I think it's risky. All right. So, and reminder to everybody, real quick. Reminder to everybody that the way that I'm doing the streams now, they are on Mondays and Fridays on YouTube. But the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday streams are for school members only. So the way it's going to be set up now is I'll be doing these streams on YouTube Mondays right now at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Fridays around 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then for the school members, it's on... they have the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday streams as well. And I'll show you that here. You can see it on the calendar in school. Public and public are in the name, and then school members. So here, let me change the view. You can see it here, public, YouTube live review, and then school members, YouTube live Q&A, those 3 days. And you can see 8:30, 8:30, 8:30, and then the Thursday one's at 9, and then the Friday one's public at 9. So that's how it's set up now. So it's going to be school members only. If you want to join school, it's here, $99 a month. Everything's laid out here, and it's all set up. So it's on here, $99 a month. I am actually looking at setting up, I am looking at possibly setting up a free trial, like a 7-day trial setup for school. So that's in the works, and I'm hoping that I can launch that this week, possibly even later today. I haven't been able to change the settings yet, but I'm actually going to be setting it up. So it's $99 a month, but I am going to be setting up a 7-day trial system. And the way it will work is you'll get a trial. Now in the trial, you'll have access to the community tab. So you'll be able to see all this, which means that you'll actually be able to follow along with the chart updates. You'll have access to the calendar, so you'll be able to join those private streams when you're on the trial. But the classroom, you'll only have access to the Start Here course. the other courses won't be unlocked for free trial users. They'll only unlock after you've been in the community for 8 days. So after your 7-day trial becomes a paid subscription, then you'll get access to the actual courses. So it'll give you a way of still getting into things, seeing how everything works, getting familiarized, asking questions, following along with the chart updates, the live streams, all that stuff. So that's going to be set up. And then the other thing is, like, once your trial period ends and you have your membership started, then you'll have access to the full courses. You'll have access to get the Freedom Algo tools and indicators for NinjaTrader that are included, and the private Discord. You'll get access to all that after you've been in, basically on day 8, when your paid membership starts after the 7-day trial. So that's going to be, that's in the works, and I'm planning on rolling that out later today. Hopefully today. But there's some tech stuff going on that's been problematic for me. So I got to make sure that I can get it situated. Yeah, I'm looking forward to rolling it out. All right, I got to look at something on my other screen real fast. Give me 1 second here. Actually, I can probably just leave that open. Let me know if you have questions. Go ahead and drop them in the chat while I deal with something real quick. All right. So let me know. You got questions? Drop them in the chat, fam. Drop them in the chat. Make sure I can answer everything for everybody. Okay, so I figured out that the issue that I'm dealing with is an issue that appears to be, it actually appears to be server-wide for the platform on the Loom platform. So that's where the problem is coming from. So there you go. There you go. It happens. Not seeing any questions yet. Oh, there we go. I see you, Jarvis. Let's see. All right, you said, is there anything that I look for in particular to give me confidence that it'll push through the EMA instead of stall there? Like the first yellow arrow trade is just below the EMA. Okay, yeah. All right, so when the EMA is sideways like this, I'm not worried about it. I'm not really actually worried about the EMA. The only thing I'm worried about is, am I in congestion? Right? That's what I'm worried about there. And it kind of is. However, the thing is, at the time when I was looking at this trade, I was tracking a possible trend channel line that looked like this. Possibly like this, right? Like the price action was moving higher. And so I was thinking, hey, maybe this isn't a range and it's actually like a flat up channel. Now, it doesn't quite touch the level, but it's really close to the trend channel there. So that was what I was tracking as a possibility. Similarly, you could look, it wasn't a great channel, but you could also have drawn it like this. And it kind of looked like we had a trend channel and we were hugging the lows of it with room to go up. So that's part of why I liked it. But it's not ideal. Now, when it's like this below here, I'm taking this trade knowing that I'm probably going to get to the EMA. If I'm taking a trade right into the EMA here, I'm not too worried again because it's kind of a range here. So if I'm in an uptrend and I'm taking an uptrend trade, it just depends on like where it all is. I can't really answer it very specifically. It's based on the circumstances that I'm in. So if the EMA is pretty sideways and we're going above and below it, I'm trading more like a range. If we're in a spot like this where we break down, I'm expecting us to magnet back to the EMA because we keep doing that in these areas. And if we're in a trend like a trend where we're like above it, like over here or down here below it, I'm kind of taking trades off of it. So like if this second entry short happened right above the EMA and you had to take it into the EMA, I'm probably not going to take it there because we've been below the EMA and now we're breaking above it. It might be reversing on us. So it's kind of like that. Hopefully that helps. Be right back. I got to go let my dog in. We might have the most epic deviant target above us. We could get to a new all-time high of 6,900. The ultimate. That's probably one of the... that's not the ultimate deviant target. The ultimate deviant target would probably be 69. But we could get to 6,900 as our deviant target. It's possible. Very possible. Look at that. It's right up here. Not very far. So there it did. It did what I said. It made the new high. So all uptrends have played out here, right? They've all played out. Now we do have a clear bias in this channel, in this range. Now it's not. Like, there's a clear upward bias that's still in play. I'm not going to, like, draw it necessarily, but I'm just going to show you. You can kind of see that there's, like, an upward bias, you know, overall. I use the 21 EMA. 21. And we're looking at the 2000 tick ES chart. Also, funny YouTube name, by the way. Chump Sauce. I like that. It's funny. Yeah, 21 EMA. 2000 tick ES chart. Going over the price action of the day. There's not a lot of trade setups today. There's really only a few. I haven't seen anything in here that I really like since then. Nothing I'd really take here. There is a first entry, second entry long here, but you're not really looking to go long there. It's just like, that's sketchy. Right into the highs. Like, it's just not a good idea. So, kind of just have to sit out of that one. If you got any more questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And by the way, everybody, just like, take a look later today at the school community, because I'm going to be implementing that free trial once the tech issue gets resolved from Loom. So hopefully that'll be resolved soon, and I can get that thing launched. And then also, the next public live stream is going to be on Friday. But if you want to join the private live streams, you can start a free trial membership that I'm hoping I can get started later today, because the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday streams are going to only be for paid members. You can also do them when you're on the trial during that 7-day period. Could we form something like this? It's a possibility, right? It's a possibility. I'm not going to write home, nothing to write home about yet, because this is a close outside new high and then another leg to a new high. But you can't really ignore, like I've been saying, there's a bullish bias today. So you can't ignore that we might form an actual uptrend that just keeps going. So we got to zoom out here. And remember, we have a huge gap up. Bullish price action overall, and we keep on forming these up channels, and this one has finally pushed through. So so we'll see. We'll see. There could be a setup that forms, but right now it's looking a little bit lackluster, so just how it is. And you're welcome, Chump Sauce. You're welcome, Chump Sauce. Oh, it's too good, man. That is too good. If you got questions, drop them in the chat, fam. Yeah, that ATR is about as low as you're going to see it. You can see how tiny these bars are. This becomes an area where you probably don't really want to take a trade. Because it's so, the ATR is so low. This happens sometimes at all-time highs. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't get a volatile shift that could happen. We definitely could. But you got to be real careful when it starts to get this low. You don't really see ATR this low almost ever. Yeah, I don't know what you meant by 3.3. I mean, for me, the ATR is a 1.6, but I think you mean take profit target. I think you mean, yeah, take profit target is below a 4. If the take profit target starts to get below a 4, I usually start to just like not really take trades. I mean, if it's at like a 3.9 or whatever, then fine. But if it's like this, where it's telling me to go for 3 ticks, I don't even want to take a trade. That's just starts to get sketchy. There's argument to be made that you could do that and you could scalp 3, but it's not even worth it. Yeah, it's not even worth it. It's better to just like sit tight and just let it play out and wait. Yeah. No, it's not weird. Guitar guy, it's not weird. You can trade on the 4-hour chart. The only problem with the 4-hour chart is like if you're trading the ES, you have to have a majorly large stop loss, right? Here, let's actually pull up a 4-hour chart. I'll pull up a 4-hour chart on TradingView. All right, so let's switch to a 4-hour. Here's the problem with a 4-hour chart. Well, first of all, you don't even have 4 hours in the regular session. So, you don't even have 4 hours. But let's say this chart, let's say this candle was closed. Or I mean, like the session itself doesn't have that much time. So if you're trading like the ES, it's kind of weird to trade on a 4-hour chart. But if you did, here's the problem. You're gonna, let's say you enter a trade at the top here, and your stop loss goes below the bar. I mean, even here, you're gonna have a 13-point stop loss. I mean, that's a huge stop loss. So even on an MES contract, that's still pretty big. So I'm not sure, you know, yeah, you can do it, but you need to have a huge account to be able to handle that on futures. Now, if you're trading like stocks or whatever, that's different. Trading like stocks or crypto or something, and you're just trading with like the amount that you actually have, that's different. But futures are highly leveraged assets. So if you're trading on futures, it's very difficult to trade with a huge candlestick like that, huge bars like that, and have a huge stop loss and all that. So that's the way I see it. I mean, yeah, you can do it. It's just challenging. I use longer time frames like that when I'm trading like stocks or crypto or whatnot. But for day trading, I'm a day trader and scalper, so I like to be in and out of my trades. I'm not trying to sit in a trade for multiple days when I'm trading futures. That's not what I do with this. What assets do you trade on a 4-hour chart? Like, what assets are you trading? Are you trading the ES? Because that would be pretty wild. You'd have to have a majorly large account to do that. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure even if you're just trading with like one ES contract on something like that, you're going to need to have thousands and thousands of dollars to cover the overnight margin cost on just a single contract. So it's a pretty big deal to be able to do it. Like, I think that, I don't remember what it is, but I think NinjaTrader's margin requirement for overnight on a single contract, it used to be something like $20,000 just to cover one contract or something. Trading gold futures or spot? Are you trading the spot market or the futures market? I don't know what the gold margin requirement is. Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what the gold margin requirement is. I'd have to look it up. Let me see. I'll look it up what the Ninja... Here, let me look it up on NinjaTrader. Gold... Where is it? I don't even... I'd have to... Where is it? Let's see. Let's see. Gold. I think it's $22,000. right? Yeah, I think it's 22. I think it's 22,000. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I might be wrong on that, but I think you have to cover at least 22,000 in your account to hold one contract overnight. I'm pretty sure on NinjaTrader, right? So that just is like a pretty large. It's a pretty large amount to be trading one single contract, right? That's the whole thing. Now, if that's your style, that's your style. If that's how you like to do it. But yeah, it just has a large requirement for the overnight, I'm pretty sure on that. So, you know, but yeah, if you're trading a 4-hour, you'd need to have at least 22,000 in the account just for one single contract trade. But hey, if that's your style, that's your style. Generally, if I'm trading on a longer time frame, it's because it's not a futures market trade. It's something that I'm just actually like holding the whole value of, like, you know, Bitcoin or some stock or something like that. And I'm not using any margin or whatever. Yeah, I already did. I took 2 trades today. I'll show you. I didn't take this first one here. I took this second one, right? So I took this long right here. That was at 6:37 a.m. Pacific time. So 7 minutes after the open. And then I took this short, which was at 7:25, which was about almost an hour after the open today. A little scalp short, a little scalp long. That's the only setups that I took. The rest of these setups here are just not very good right now. And the price action's very slow and tight right now. So not a whole lot going on today, to be honest. It's kind of slow. And again, for those of you who are joining later, just a reminder, what I'm doing now. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So just a reminder of what I'm going to be doing here. I'm doing the live streams on YouTube on Mondays and Fridays now. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm still doing a live stream going over all the price action and everything, but it's only for my school members, only for my paid members. And that's all in the chat and in the description. You can see the school community. And what I'm also going to be doing with this is I'm going to be making a free trial that I'll hopefully launch later, which will be a 7-day trial. And so while you're in the trial, you'll be able to still join those private live streams that I do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I plan on implementing the free trial later because the membership's $99 a month. So there'll be a 7-day trial. And then that will give you access to the full calendar so you can get the links for the upcoming streams and all that. And then what I'm also going to do is you'll also have access to the community, and you'll be able to look at, like, here's today, for example. You'll be able to see like the trade setups and how I'm mapping out the price action so you can follow along in real time. But of course, while you're on the 7-day trial, you won't have access to all the courses, just the Start Here course that has a few things in it. The other courses will unlock for people after they've been in the community for 8 days. This is just a newer feature that I have access to, so I'm going to test it out. And so for after 8 days, these other courses will unlock when you become a paying member. And then also you'll be eligible for these 2 things, the Discord access and Freedom Algo tools for NinjaTrader. You can get access to those after 8 days. You can join the public Discord during the free trial period, but to get access to the private Discord server and all that stuff, I do that for, I'll be only doing that for the paying members after the trial period ends. So that's all going to be in here and detailed. So that way you can get a taste of like what's all in here and how this all works. But I think it'll be a really cool thing. If you got questions on it, let me know. I'm just waiting for Loom to finish something because I created some new videos. I created some new videos, and I'm not able to add them right now because Loom is being weird. So that's the problem. Because I needed to create a new video for the Start Here course that explains some of the information. But Loom is broken right now. They're investigating an issue. So once that's fixed, I can add it on, and then I can activate the trial thing. So it should be later today. So if you don't see it, come back and check it out. Once I implement it, I'll send out an email as well. So if you're on the email list, definitely look out there. Here, I'll put a link actually. Here, let me see. I'll put a link here to join the email list. Here, I'll put a link in here in the chat. This is just if you want to join the email list, you can join that. I put a link in the chat. This is just, it'll say, it basically will also give you a link to my free 4-hour course. So it'll give you a link to that. All right, so let's see what happens here. We're breaking through this. So this trend line doesn't appear to be in play unless it's wider, but it doesn't really fit if you do it like that. So I'm going to say probably not in play. Could be a spike in channel still, but to me, not looking very likely. So we'll just have to let it play out. If you got questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. All right. The way that I do it. Okay, so yeah, so the way that I do it is so it varies. You know, I'm going to trade anywhere from 5 to 20 contracts on the ES, depending on like what's going on and setups and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, the way that I do it is I enter a trade 1 tick above the signal bar. So in this case, I enter the trade 1 tick above this bar. My stop loss goes 1 tick below. And then I scalp 80% for a small scalp, and then I move my stop loss to break even and leave a runner with 20% of my contracts. So like in this case, on this candle, my stop loss was 7 ticks. Right? But on this one, my stop loss was 15 ticks. So that's going to vary based on the size of the candle. That's a weird gap right there on that candle. Price action's still pretty slow right now. Like, this candle looks kind of big, but it's only 6 ticks. Some very, very strange action today. It got really slow. There's a big gap up, and then it got really slow, so that's kind of weird. But that's how it goes. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I detail it all in there, in the free course and everything, so... Cool. So I'll see if there's any more questions, and then I'll probably wrap up the stream here. Just going to wait and see if any more questions come through. And I'll give it like another minute or two, and then I'll probably wrap up the stream because there's not really much else to talk about. The price action is so slow right now. So tight. The TP is now below a 3, which is just like, basically this is as small as it gets. So I don't want to sit here and just watch paint dry. Nope, I do not. I just look at this chart. What you're seeing on the chart is literally all I look at. This is it. So I have my own indicator suite that is part of my community. So you can see my ATR values, my take profit values. You can see my drawing tools. You can see these numbers that tell me how big the bar is and if it's a good signal bar. But everything I do is I just draw, and I have the 21 EMA, and then everything I do is I just draw the price action out. And I just literally trade this 2,000 tick chart. This is all I look at. I don't look at anything else. That makes sense, what I just said?
Trading within an area that
Whoops, my bad. Good. I'm glad it helps. Glad it helps.
this is the
Well, we are forming a bit of an up channel here. So originally I was saying that like it didn't really look like it was fitting, you know, but it does kind of look like a spike in channel here that has formed. Something like this. It looks like a spike in channel to me. Now I don't know for sure if it's gonna carry. We gotta wait and see if this keeps going higher. But it does look like a spike in channel is forming here. So we gotta be aware of that. Yeah. Yes. Listen, that is probably one of the best questions I've had here on psychology. It's one of the most important things is understanding your tendencies, right? So you asked, you know, did I struggle with overtrading? You're finding yourself creating entries when you open a chart. Here's the thing with that. Like, it's so common to do this because, like, I think one of the hardest abilities to develop as a trader is this: patience. Here's the last trade setup I saw. It was at 7:25 a.m. That was over 2 hours ago. So even though there's all this price action that happened after, there's not actually any setups that I think are good after that. There's a couple that you could argue for as a possibility, but they're not really good. And so, like, I'm looking at this price action here, and I'm just going like, you have to be okay with, if you're going to trade, let's say, for a while, you have to be okay with sitting here sometimes for 2 hours with no setup and not trying to force anything. And that's very difficult, and it can be frustrating to develop that. And yeah, in the early days of trading, you'll struggle with that, and I did struggle with that too. But now I have a different mindset because I only try to get 1 to 4 trades each day in the morning session. So, you know, I was done pretty much after this. Like, I got this trade and I got these 2 trades. I got this one and this one all within the first hour of the market being open, and I was okay. And I was like, okay, sweet, I'm done. Like, I don't need another trade. If another one sets up, great, but I'm good, you know? So it's about, you have to shift that mindset. It's hard, but that's what you got to do. Jarvis, you tried Bookmap. Yeah, I didn't get anything from it either. I looked at it at some point. I also at some point traded order flow and tried that out, and, you know, cumulative volume delta and order flow and you know, like the absorption and all that stuff. And I just found it to be pretty much useless for really understanding the price action, in my opinion. That's like, I think that you can get everything you need from a tick chart like this. Even from a time chart you can, in my opinion. You miss a little bit of details on a time-based chart, but I get everything I need from this chart, and I don't need anything else. The other stuff just confuses me, because it adds extra layers, and then, oh, what about confluence this? Well, here's the thing, like, you're going to have confluence sometimes, and then what you're going to do if you start adding that stuff is you're going to have conflicting information. Like, what if the price action that you're reading shows you that there's a good long setup, but like Bookmap or order flow or whatever shows you that it's not a good long setup, but it actually is, right? Like you're going to get conflicts, probably more than you get confluence. But hey, if you find something that works for you, go with it, you know, go with it. All right, so Jarvis. Oh man, you're funny. All right, so who's that? Chimp? That was this? Oh, I can't read it. Or Churn? Churn? I don't know. Churn? Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading that from where I'm sitting, but you said, what's my target on a trade? 1 point. It depends on the actual ATR at the time. So, like earlier today, I was like in the pre-market, I was targeting 1.5 points for my initial scalp. I always scalp about 80 to 90% of my trade for my initial scalp, and then I leave 20% or so as a runner. So I was scalping for, like at this point of the day, I had my target set to 6 ticks, so 1.5 points. And then you move your stop to break even and leave a runner. I think by this point of the day, around here, I was going for 5 ticks. And then once it got to this point of the day, I was going for 4 because the ATR had dropped. So it's based on the ATR. So during highly volatile times, sometimes I'm going for a lot. I mean, there was one period of time where I was going for 5 points on my scalp when the volatility was extremely high. It just depends on the volatility of the day. So it fluctuates throughout the day, and I use the ATR to guide me. Right now I'm using the 14-period ATR as my kind of benchmark, and I try to target roughly half the ATR for my scalp. If the ATR starts dropping below a 2, and it tells me that I should be going for less than 1 point, I typically will just I never go for less than 1 point. So right now I wouldn't even be trading because it's telling me that my take profit should be less than 1 point. It's actually saying it should be basically like even just a little less than 3 ticks, which I wouldn't be taking trades in this. That's how I look at it. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah, that's actually correct. And that is, let me see. No, this trade went a little bit more than 4 ticks, I think. It went, no, actually, that's exactly what it gave. So I actually took that trade. Here, let me see. I did take that trade. I have a screenshot of it somewhere. Let me see. I'm almost positive I took a screenshot of that one when I was in it. Right here. Yeah. So you can see right here. Hopefully you can see that on your side. I know it's kind of zoomed out, but you can see I was in this trade. I entered 1 tick below the bar, stop loss 1 tick above. Take profit was down here at, you can see it on there, 4 ticks. Because I entered 1 tick below the bar, 4 ticks. You needed to tick through the order to guarantee it, and that's exactly all it gave us. Because when I entered the trade, you enter 1 tick below the bar, right? Sorry. Didn't mean to do that. Stop loss. So you enter 1 tick below the bar, and you need it to travel 1.25 points. You need it to travel 5 ticks to fill your scalp in case you don't get filled on your limit order. So you need to scalp, you need it to go through, and that's exactly all it gave. And that's why I base my take profit on half the ATR at the time, because I'm almost always going to get my scalp if I'm going for about half the ATR in that given situation. That's just market, the way that the market math works. So, so there you go. Yeah, it gave me exactly my take profit. It actually, well, I mean, it ticked through 1 tick. But yeah, if you went for 5 ticks there instead of 4, then you might have had a failure because it might not have filled you on your limit order. And anything bigger than 5 ticks, you would have had a loser. But that's why, like, the ATR gives me a specific way to know how much to target for my scalp. And the runner is just a bonus, right? Like, the runner is not... That's why, like, some people that trade this strategy, they don't go for a scalp. They just go for a bigger target. And you can do that, but you just have to know that you're going to lose some trades that you were right about that would have worked as a scalp. So you just have to understand that. Any other questions? Yeah, and Jarvis, you're saying... Yeah. Jarvis, if I were you, look, I wouldn't even take anything today. Look at how low look at how low the ATR is. I wouldn't even bother. You're honestly probably better off if you're going to trade it to come back later, because the afternoon session can sometimes have a little bit more volatility, like around like 12 Pacific time. So basically in about 2 hours, if you came back in about 2 hours, you could trade that, what they call it, power hour, which is basically from 12 Pacific to 1 Pacific, which I think Eastern time, it's like 3 to 4. That makes sense? All right, any more questions? Let's see. Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. It gets a little wild that last 15 or so minutes. And then that last hour that the market's technically still open, there's just no volume. You can see that pretty much every day. Here, let's actually look at it. So if you go here, let's pull up Friday. So here's Friday. All right, let me zoom in real quick. So here's Friday. This is... All right, so let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let me mark off some of these candles. So where's 12? There it is. Okay. So let me can I get a vertical line? All right, I'm going to put some vertical lines on the chart here so we can map this out. 11. We'll go with that one. Right there. 831. Vertical line. This is all going to make sense what I'm doing in a second. I'm just trying to... I'll explain. Give me a minute. Right there. And then let's find the pre-market. Where's the pre... Oh, Friday was crazy because of the CPI, so it's going to actually be kind of funky. But it doesn't matter. I'll just show it anyway. Friday, I forgot. Friday had the CPI release. So it was absolute chaos. Right there is about the open. Okay, so take a look at this right here. All right, you see these sections here. So this section right here, the first section. Here, let me number these. So we'll call this section 1. probably tiny on your screen, but bear with me. Section 2, Section 3, and then we'll do Section 4. All right, I'm just going to skip the pre-market stuff just to illustrate this. So if you measure Section 1 from the open to right here, this is a 2-hour period, and there's 178 bars, okay? And I measured it to 8:30, so basically a 2-hour period, and there's 178 bars. Now what we're going to do is we're also going to measure the next period from there to there. Okay, that's a 3-hour and 28-minute period, and there's only 107 bars. So that's from 8:30 a.m. Pacific until basically noon. Roughly, you know. Now, if we measure the next section, I might be off by like 1 candle. It doesn't really matter. This is only about 58 minutes, and there's 61 bars. Right? That's what we call that power hour. Section 3, that's power hour. That's that last hour of the day. And then the final hour of the day that the market's open, there's 14 bars in that hour. So that's why we don't mess with that time. We don't mess with that time right there. You don't want to trade that. 14 bars in an hour is crazy. Don't do that. Now, one thing that's interesting though about power hour is the last few minutes. So if you just measure, I think it's like basically if you just measure the last 10 minutes of this, it's usually about the last 10 minutes that everything gets chaotic. So if you just measure, which bar is it? Yeah, that red one. Okay. So right where before that one starts. If you just measure that last 10 minutes, you have a 10-minute and 22-second period with 32 bars. So basically, half of the action of that last hour happens in 10 minutes. It's super aggressive and chaotic. It's very hard to trade. And it can be dangerous. It's like trading the news in a way. So this is just one example of one day of why I break down my session the way I do. This is why I trade the first 2 hours of the day, and then I pretty much stop, and then I just live stream and talk about all the price action and everything, because most of the action that is good happens in that first 2 hours of the market session. The period after that is slow. I mean, look at how slow it was. 3.5 hours, and there's not even as much bars, you know? And then that last hour is kind of chaotic sometimes. So you got to watch out for that. The actual last hour of the market being open is not even worth looking at, which is this, 14 bars in an hour. That looks like the pre-market. So this is why I break it down this way. So I hope that answers some questions and makes sense. If you have questions on it, let me know. Let me get back to the regular price action. So it does look like the spike in channel is kind of playing out here. We are making higher highs, higher lows. So the spike in channel is here. Deviant target is still up there. There you go. See what happens. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Final questions or thoughts? Put them in the chat if you do. Ugh. Oh. Going once, going twice, plus 20 seconds for the YouTube delay. Yes, for sure, Mike H. Tick chart tells it all. Tick chart tells all. And by the way, if you haven't liked the video yet, please give the stream a like. It always helps. It always helps get it out in front of more people. I forgot to say it earlier. Price action is so tight right now, though. Like, you're seeing 4 tick bars. That's pretty rare. You just got to stay out of stuff like this. It's just it's too tight. There's not enough room to even get a proper scalp. You're like barely going to cover your commission cost on a trade. You too, Jarvis. You too. I'm going to wrap up here, everybody. I appreciate everybody for being here. Reminder, the next public stream is on Friday, where we do the same thing. We go over the price action. We do this. It's going to be on Friday. But I will be streaming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday also. But that's just for the paid school members or people that are on a free trial. And the free trial will be active later today. So just check out the school page. It's in the chat or in the description of the stream if you want to join the free trial. It's a 7-day free trial. And basically that will give you access to everything with the live stream schedule. Because I'm still doing a live stream Monday through Friday. It's just that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are for school members only now. And then Monday and Friday are the public one. So you'll be able to check that out. You'll be able to check the chart updates I do throughout the session, have access to the community. There's a couple of features that you don't have access to when you're on the trial, but they fully unlock after the 7-day period ends and you become a full member. So it gives you a chance to really try everything out, make sure you like what you see and that sort of thing. So that's all there. I appreciate everybody, and I will see you all soon. Thank you, everybody.